I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, well, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Idaho, in almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Idaho High School Activities Association and the Idaho Athletic Administrators Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
Idaho 529 Education Savings Program. Our easy-to-use tools make it simple to plan for your child's education. With tax benefits, ownership flexibility ideal is the perfect way to save for college, trade school, K-12 education, and student loan repayment. Join us at our next webinar to learn more about the 529 plan. Enrolling takes just 15 minutes and you can start with just $25. Visit idsaves.org if you would like to learn more.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health insurance. Your Health Idaho's got you covered with all you need to know. Open enrollment is the time of year where you can enroll in or change your health insurance coverage. And Your Health Idaho is the place to go for quality coverage at a lower cost. 25% of enrollees pay $25 or less. Make sure to enroll by December 16th to get covered and save money.
It's about whatever makes you say to yourself, I am great.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
Ads like this keep popping up, but I see through the hype because those vape clouds people claim are just water vapor contain as many as 31 different chemicals, like formaldehyde, the stuff they preserve dead bodies with. And while the flavors sound all harmless, we still have no idea what these ingredients could be doing to our bodies. But I already see vaping for exactly what it is. Get the real facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
Welcome into this IdahoSports.com GameStreams production of the Idaho High School Football Playoff. State playoff coverage on IdahoSports.com is presented by Project Filter, your Health Idaho, Ideal, Idaho's college savings program, Valleywide Cooperative, your local Toyota dealers, Dip Fusion Helmet Reconditioning, and the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hillcrest High School for this 5A state semifinal matchup between the 9-2 Lakeland Hawks out of the north and the 8-3 Hillcrest Knights. Glad to have you with us on a wintry night here in Idaho Falls. My name is Scott Burton, and I'm joined by my broadcast partner, Mr. Eastern Idaho, Lance Taylor. Lance, good to have you aboard. We're back together again, but we're also joined by Paul Kingsbury, Logan Kelso, Fuzz Taylor, and a couple of photographers down on the field. It is a full house of Idaho sports because we know, Lance, that this game between these two teams features a really good matchup.
Well, if it's state tournament time, you know, you and me are going to be together somewhere during this tournament, and we happen to be here tonight. This is a very good tournament. Let me tell you what, you got a Lakeland team that wasn't on a lot of people's radars coming into this season, and you can almost say that about Hillcrest, and you think, how can you say that? They were undefeated last year until the state championship game. However, they lost so many kids that coming into this season, they had far more questions than they did answers. They've answered those questions, and I think at this point of the season, they're every bit as good as they were last year.
Well, they finished number 3 in the last coaches poll of the season, with their losses coming to 6A Madison and 6A Rigby. And and also to Skyline, the 5A powerhouse and defending champ. So it's not like they lost to some subpar opponents. They lost to some of the best teams in the state, and a couple of those in the 6A classification. We'll get to more of the preview of each one of these squads, but we are now underway. Hillcrest will be kicking off to Lakeland to get things started. And from the 5-yard line, here comes the return, and a nice return out across the 30 to about the 32-yard line. That is going to be Peyton Sardinia, and that's where Lakeland will get things started on their first possession.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I think Lakeland's going to have to do against this Hillcrest bunch, you've got to get good field position to start. And then really one of the things you've got to do is you've got to manage your first and second downs and give yourself manageable thirds, because if you don't, Hillcrest will find themselves in the backfield against you.
Well, quickly out into the formation, trips to the left. And a quarterback sneak just to get things started for Lakeland, and that's Hayden Benson, the quarterback. Not a whole lot of room to operate there, but sometimes they do that just to get the feel of the game and get a couple of hits in to get you warmed up on a cold night.
Well, you got big number 75, Michael McCartney, there in the middle for Hillcrest, and he's a player that's very, very tough on that defensive line. I think most of the time we're probably going to see Lakeland kind of stay away from them. He's going to be on most of the time the right side of the line defensively.
2nd down and 8, bunch formation here now to the left, and this is going to be Wheel, who breaks one tackle, cannot escape the second wave, and up to the 40 he goes. He'll be shy of the first down by about 3 yards. It'll bring up 3rd and short for Lakeland.
Yeah, number 32, Dax Sargent, we talk about him, leading tackler on this team. He's also a receiver on this team. He was involved in that play right there, and he's one of those that if you didn't see who was in on the tackle, you can call his name, and about 90% of the time you're going to be correct.
Yeah, Sargent is one of those kids that leads the way with 74 tackles for the Hillcrest Knights. 3rd down and short for Lakeland. Same formation as last time. And Benson out of the gun. Play action. He'll call his own number and spin close to the first down, and it looks like he may have it by about a half a yard.
Yeah, I think no matter what official you go with on either side, he got that. And you know what? If you're Lakeland, that's a great start for you. One of the things, and of course we'll get to the keys later on, I know, Scott, but one of the things to look at is time of possession. Hillcrest is a master at time of possession. So if you're Lakeland, if you can keep it out of Hillcrest's hands, that's the better.
Well, and I think Lakeland's got the offense to do it because they run the ball so efficiently with multiple people, and they're able to sustain drives, chew up clock, and I think that's what we're seeing here on this first drive. First down, handoff Wheel, right side, spins out of one tackle, and picks up about 4 on first down, out to about the 47.
Hillcrest wasn't able to get him until a few yards down the road, as it ended up being, well, once again, we end up with Sargent in on that tackle. But I think one of the keys for Lakeland as they do this is you've got to get through that first initial line. If you get through that first initial line and you have a head of steam and you get hit after that line, you can drag a guy for 2 or 3 yards.
Opening drive of the game for the Lakeland Hawks, 9.5 to play in the opening quarter. And this will be play action again, and Benson straight up the middle into Hillcrest territory to about the 44, 43-yard line, and a first down for the Hawks.
Well, Stedham finally had to bring him down as he stumbled right before that first down marker, able to pick it up. But you know what? You notice they went block heavy on the right side. That forced the defense over to the defense's left side. He goes ahead and just takes it up the middle.
Well, when you've got 2 guys on that O-line, and their O-line for Lakeland is solid. Ledby at 6'4", 280, and Carter Vanek, who was a top 4 finisher at 285 at wrestling at state last year. They've got some tough dudes up front, and that's why they run the ball so well.
Yeah.
And on first down, this will be Wheel. Boy, just bounces out as he had nowhere to go at the line of scrimmage, bounced it out, and now Lakeland is threatening.
Well, and Damian Simmons had him in the backfield, had him wrapped for just a moment. He was able to break that tackle and move on down the rest of the field.
And that was Durning bringing him down, Brody Durning, on that far side, and they're going to mark him out right at the 20-yard line. So first down for Lakeland at the Hillcrest 20. Opening drive here in this state semifinal matchup. The winner to the state title game
A Sandpoint team that did not even pick up their first down until their 4th possession of the ball game. And tonight, already, Lakeland able to move down the field efficiently.
Yeah, and if you're Lakeland, this is exactly what you want to do. It's not a surprise that they're going to come out and try to establish the run. But to do it effectively when everybody knows it's coming is something else. 2 receivers to the left on this first down play from the 20. Handoff. Right side and another.
You know, anytime you understand your blocking assignments, it makes a running team so much more effective. And you look at how well they understand their blocking assignments, because Hillcrest is a big team. They've got a big defensive line. They're good tacklers. Who you are.
Gain of 8 on the play. 2nd down and 2. Lakeland. Opening drive. This is Benson behind a blocker. Big hole inside the 5. He goes. 1st and goal now for the Lakeland Hawks.
Lakeland has moved the ball down the field basically at will. They've taken their plays and said, this is what's opening up for us. They're sticking with it, and it's going to be upon Hillcrest to make those necessary adjustments.
1st down and goal for Lakeland. Line of scrimmage, the Hillcrest 4. Benson under center. He's got 3 men in the backfield. Handoff. This is Wheel, and Wheel is met by a wall of Knights. Maybe a yard on the play. Good job by the interior of that defensive line by Hillcrest. Leading the way for the Knights on that play, big number 66, Damian Simmons.
Yeah, and Simmons, we talked about him back here by the 50-yard line when Lakeland was moving down the field. He had a nice wrap in the backfield. The wrap was broken, and they ended up with a big run on that. Also in on the play was big Michael McCartney again. We're going to see him, number 75, and we're going to end up calling his name a lot tonight.
Ball at the 2-yard line, 2nd down and goal for Lakeland. 7 minutes to go here in the opening quarter. This is the opening drive of the game. Benson under center. Handoff. Wheel just kind of waited for the hole to open and then sneaked right into the end zone. Touchdown, Lakeland.
Boy, talk about patience on a play, waiting for, and you mentioned it, waited for that hole, and he did. He waited for that to open up. You know, sometimes you'll see players just hit a hole really quick. Well, that's aggressive, but it's not always necessarily the best thing to do. He let his lineman work for him, and it opened up like a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And he just went right through.
Very patient runner is Wheel. That's kind of on his scouting report coming in, as he makes a lot of things happen just with his eyes and his patience. The extra point is up and good. Handling the kicking duties is Parker Sterling. And with 6:41 to go here in the opening quarter, it is 7-0 Lakeland. We'll step away and be right back right after this.
This year, help dreams come true with the Ideal Idaho 529 Education Savings Program. Our easy-to-use tools make it simple to plan for your child's education. With tax benefits, ownership flexibility Ideal is the perfect way to save for college, trade school, K-12 education, and student loan repayment. Join us at our next webinar to learn more about the 529 plan. Enrolling takes just 15 minutes and you can start with just $25. Visit idsaves.org if you would like to learn more.
Welcome back to Hillcrest High School. Scott Burton alongside Lance Taylor and a whole bunch of others here in the booth. 6:41 to go. Opening quarter, and boy, what an impressive drive, Lance, by Lakeland as they took the opening kickoff and went about 67 yards into pay dirt. It was Lovey Wheel with the 2-yard touchdown run. And a little squib this time. And that one is trouble. It is loose. It's still loose.
Boy, this could be close. I think Hillcrest ended up on it. But, you know, those squib kicks, those are dangerous for a receiving team anytime. And oftentimes because you end up with players putting hands on the ball that usually aren't used to having their hands on the ball.
Exactly. And Hillcrest luckily came away with it. It was Davis emerging from the bottom of the pile with the football. And now it's going to be Hillcrest on their opening drive of the game. The line of scrimmage is going to be the 22.
You know, I was so impressed when you said you were along with Lance Taylor and a whole bunch of other guys. I'm glad you said my name, and I just wasn't one of the other guys like Paul and Fuzz. They were just one of the other guys.
They are one of the other guys.
And, it's so nice to actually have my name mentioned.
It's funny because Paul's sitting here. He's got a headset on, but it's not connected to ours, so he thinks he's talking to us.
Oh, no, we're making fun of him the whole time.
Handoff left side.
One of the things you're going to notice about Hillcrest is a very balanced team. They will run, they will pass. And so it's one that if you do shut them down in one area, they can beat you in another. And,
right.
That's something we've got to see from Lakeland as they move on, too, is what if the run ends up being shut down? What's going to happen? Are they going to be able to pass the ball or whatnot? That's one thing that we already do know about Hillcrest.
And that was Titan Larson on the opening carry. Trips right this time for the Hillcrest Knights. Sweetwood alone in the backfield. Out to the left and up to the 30 goes number 11. That's Jace Judy. We'll call his name quite often, short of the first down. But you're right, Lance, this is a team here that's fairly balanced, and that's why they're so hard to beat. And if you stop the run, well, you better deal with Sweetwood. And Sweetwood is not only their leading passer, obviously, but he's also their leading rusher.
Yeah, he is. And one of the things you will see, too, is they do a lot of spread, and they get people in single coverage, and they'll test that secondary in that single coverage. We'll probably see a lot of slot routes tonight as well.
Got two receivers to the right, one to the left. Sweetwood will hand it off. And a hole closing quickly for Hillcrest. On the carry, number 32, that's Dax Sargent. But he got just enough for the first down. And the sticks will move for Hillcrest on this opening drive, approaching 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter.
The bigger the school size, the less you see players cross over. However, one of the things with this Hillcrest team, your skill players tend to cross over both sides of the ball. Your running backs and receivers do cross.
Sweetwood out of the gun. Little quick pass out to the left and a lot of room to run for Judy. And Judy up near midfield. He's got another first down for Hillcrest.
Great block by Cannon Davis to open that up on the far side of the field. He had three defenders over there, and it's kind of like being blurred. If you're blurred and you see three people, what do? You take the one in the middle. And that's exactly what he did. And it opened that up and allowed him to get down that side.
And the sticks move again for Hillcrest. First down at their own 49-yard line. Opening drive now for the Hillcrest Knights. Two receivers to the right, one to the left. And Sweetwood alone in the backfield. Back to pass, another quick little swing pass. This one, Sargent. Sargent has a little bit of room inside the 45 down to about the 41. Sweetwood, designed quarterback run inside the 40. Gain of about 4 on the play. It'll be second down.
Well, and you saw Mason Saunders. He went in motion there, and you're going to see that a bit. You notice two defenders ended up going the side where Saunders went in his motion, and that's what opens it up for Sweetwood. Sweetwood's a tall runner, so he's not one of those guys that's going to go and brutalize you in that middle and hit you with that low center of gravity. What they do is they just open up space for him. Once that space opens up, he's an extremely dangerous player.
And it looks like we've got an injured Lakeland Hawk, but by the way they're treating him, it looks like a cramp.
Yeah, yep.
And that's number 29 for Lakeland. That is Noah Bodak.
There's a lot of talk right now in sports about how many athletes are cramping, and they're wondering if it's a dietary thing, if it's a type of strength and conditioning that they're doing. In fact, Duke University, their basketball team, has been high in the news this week with that. They played in that game with Kentucky where they lost a close one to Kentucky, but their players were just constantly cramping. We've seen it more in football than we've ever seen it, and so there's a lot of debate out there to see, hey, where can we narrow down to where this is happening?
Yeah, I mean, when I played back in the day, I cramped all the time, even back then, so I knew it was happening.
Did you ever think we were going to be old enough to say back in the day?
I know, right? I don't remember back in the day. Usually, you don't remember what's next after that. Swing pass again. This is to Larson, and Larson may have lost the football.
He did.
Boy, that was right in front of us and in front of the Hillcrest bench, and we couldn't quite see what happened. But Hillcrest giving no argument whatsoever. Lakeland comes away with the turnover off the fumble by Larson.
Well, Bauer was the one that hit him. It pops right out. I thought that it might have gone out. Lakeland team is going down the field. If you're Hillcrest, you can't afford not to hold serve. And not being able to hold serve that time, having that turnover hurts.
This is Taylor. Taylor, the speedster. If he can turn a corner, he can make something happen. But defensively, Hillcrest was there to limit Jace Taylor to just a couple of yards on the play, second down.
Well, and Zach Stedham gets in there. We're going to call his name a bit defensively as well. He tends to get up there. But what we're seeing is with the running attack that the Lakeland is doing, we're seeing those linebackers, even the safeties and corners, coming up a little bit into this defensive system, because what happened last time is they were breaking through that initial defensive line, and then they were getting into that secondary and carrying them 3 or 4 yards after a hit.
Second down and 8. Benson to throw over the middle, and there's that little slant slot route that we were talking about in the pregame, and it's incomplete, but that is what
they'd score every possession.
Third down and a long 8 here for Lakeland. Man in motion, left side, and stepping up is Benson. Benson spins out of one tackle and brought down. He's going to be really close to that first down. If Hillcrest could have just wrapped up on that first initial hit, they would have had him.
Yeah, McCartney had him. Big number 75 had him wrapped to go down. But, that's a couple times tonight that the Lakeland sees defensively, and most of the time tonight we've seen that they have gone motion side. And so, when that takes place, defenders start to adjust, but then you see him come back the other way.
2 receivers left. Handoff. Wheel picking his way through traffic, and Wheel is gone. Turns on the wheels. Inside the 10 to the goal line. Touchdown, Lakeland.
52-yard field goal for Will.
Boy, you just give him a crease and let Wheel do the rest. Touchdown, Hawks, as they make Hillcrest pay off the turnover.
I did see it bounce over someone's head, but I didn't know if he touched it or not. It was close enough to be touched. As now we start to get a little bit of snow / snow.
Yeah, the weather forecast here said snow coming in at about 8 o'clock. It's 7:24, and we're starting to see a little bit of it. Boy, a little swing pass complete, and Jace Judy, boy, with some nifty moves out across the 40, picks up another first down for Hillcrest to the 43.
Yeah, it just comes through a little, almost a screen slot on that play as Judy comes through. And one of the things we see is they'll do that a bit and then maybe run a play, and then all of a sudden they hit like a Mason Saunders downfield on a single coverage, things like that. But the fact that they run twins on a side and sometimes trips on a side opens it up for a slot coming in from the opposing left side.
Well, and all of that's going to come back on a penalty.
Bus.
Right? Yeah. It's a long way to travel for these Lakeland Hawks, but this is a team that, we talked about a little bit in the pregame being undersold. I mean, those teams out of the north sometimes come away with some really good teams that nobody knows about. And this is one of them. And on 4th down, Hillcrest will kick it away.
And they do it as the quarter comes to the end. But
32-yard line, and you can see the snow and the weather start to come down. This is going to get ugly weather-wise before we are done. And we have one period done here at Hillcrest High School. Right now, it is Lakeland on top, 14-0. We'll be right back.
I'm always looking for new ways to save, but I haven't found anything better than my P1FCU Ascend checking account. It's a free account that earns 3.5% APY of your average monthly balance. That could feed your coffee obsession for 2 weeks. Not only am I earning money, but I also have all the great features of a checking account, like mobile deposit and mobile wallet. Open your Ascend checking account at p1fcu.org and start earning today. APY is the annual percentage yield.
Start of the second quarter here at Hillcrest High School. Scott Burton, Lance Taylor.
Well, 2 possessions apiece for each team. Touchdown, touchdown for Lakeland. Turnover, punt for Hillcrest.
And Lakeland. First down to open here the second quarter. Play action. This is Benson, left side, got tripped up, and fortunately for Hillcrest, he did get tripped up because there was a lot of green in front of him.
Well, we talk about most of the time tonight they've gone motion side. This time they did not go motion side. They ended up going to the left, and he was 1 tackle away from breaking a big one right there.
And the tackle by Carter Holden probably saved, like you said, Lance, a huge gain. And only 2 yards on the carry. Second down and 8, line of scrimmage, the 33-yard line. Benson out of the gun. Wheel flanked to his left. A little play action. Inside slant incomplete. Intended for Jace Taylor. Taylor thought he was interfered with. No flag on the play.
That Taylor-Davis matchup is going to be a matchup that's fun to watch. As we've seen that tonight, you know, we saw the earlier pass that was kind of in Taylor's breadbasket that he didn't pull in. It was Mason Davis on that. And that's going to be one of those those are 2 great athletes at their positions.
And the incompletion will bring up 3rd down and 8 for Lakeland.
And of course, Jace Taylor, we're not related, at least not that I'm aware of. But again, as I've said on broadcast before with other people with the last name Taylor, if it benefits me, I'll claim it.
Yeah, absolutely. Trips to the left for Benson. Wheel in the backfield. Benson to throw across the middle, and it's knocked away. Getting a mid on it was Dax Sargent. And that'll bring up 4th down and a punting situation for Lakeland.
Yeah, well, and you look at Lakeland here, and you know, all of a sudden, what did Hillcrest do? They made a couple defensive adjustments. They made it so the you know, getting through that initial line was going to be a little bit tougher for Lakeland. The couple runs they did were stopped short and forced to punt.
And the punt nearly blocked, but gotten away and down at the 29-yard line where Hillcrest will take over.
Well, I tell you what, Lakeland really wanted a hit on the punter there. They hit on the punter, Dax Sargent, and the way Sargent was motioning over, it looked like maybe he was saying, "Listen, I tipped it just a little bit."
Right.
No call either way, and now Hillcrest. You know, you didn't hold serve in 1, you didn't hold serve in 2. You've got to start making up some of these points now, because much like themselves, Lakeland can take time off the clock. Make it really difficult late in the ball game to come back.
2 receivers right, 1 left. Sweetwood. Hand off, first guy through. Again, not a lot of room on that interior defensive line. That is going to be Titan Larson with the carry. And you can really see the snow starting to come in.
Yeah, you can.
With a whipping wind. Now, it would be interesting to see if that plays a part in the passing games here, because it is going sideways.
I'm not quite sure who number 28 is for Lakeland. He does not show up on my roster. Bodak is 29.
Sweetwood to throw. Has time. Going deep. And knocked away at the last second, as it was Jace Judy who got ahead of everybody. But on coverage was Caden Carley. And boy, did he make a play right at the ball as it got to Judy.
Wow, and I'll tell you what, from a pass perspective, it doesn't get better. I mean, that pass was right on, hit him in stride. It was just a great defensive assignment. But that's one of the things we've talked about. In fact, as you and I were emailing back and forth before this game, we talked about Judy being able to create some distance with some people out there, and they do test that secondary. In fact, interesting that really we're at the 10-19 of the second quarter, and that's the first time they've tested them deep like that.
Sweetwood tries to set up a screen. Coming back the other way to Judy. Lakeland not fooled at all. It'll be 4th down. And again, the Hillcrest offense sputters.
Yeah, and again, number 28 out there for Hillcrest. One of the things defensive coordinators just preach to their people, stay home, stay home, stay home. Well, guess what? He stayed home, and he was able to thwart that play.
Good stop by the Hawk defense. Forces another Hillcrest punt. And this one muffed and then finally picked up at about the 5-yard line, but nowhere to go for Wheel.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Sargent got down there and took him down like he was bulldogging in a rodeo. That was quick.
Boy, and if you're Wheel, that had to hurt just a little bit. Cold turf.
Grabbed you right around the neck
and slammed you to the turf. And
that's one of those that if it's grass, if it's tundra instead of turf, you're cleaning some of that out of your face mask when that play's over with.
First thing to hit the ground was your face mask, and so Lakeland, after the muff, is going to be pinned back inside their 20-yard line of scrimmage, the 15.
Well, and for Hillcrest, you held last time. Can you hold again? Because right now your offense has not been able to stay sustaining, particularly since that turnover on your first possession.
Benson, handoff, Wheel, just trying to wait for a hole to open, and it doesn't. And he's swallowed up by that Hillcrest defense. Number 75, Michael McCartney, the first one there for the Knights.
Yeah, Michael McCartney, one of those captains on this team. And he's one of those linemen that most teams will try to avoid. You're going to try to run in one of the other gaps. And he plays the right side of the defensive line. And so, oftentimes teams will avoid, of course, that's the left side of the offense. Teams will avoid going in that A or B gap because he's going to be there waiting for you.
6'4", 250. I'd avoid him as well. 2nd down and 10. Benson out of the gun, handoff, Wheel again. Guess who?
McCartney. They run right at him. And again, they list him as 6'4", 250. That might have been at the start of the season. He's down to a little bit of beef since then because that 250.
Wow. He is tossing guys around left and right, making his presence known on that defensive line. As they, both these teams have got some big boys on the interior. And usually these kinds of games are who's tougher, who's going to own the line of scrimmage. Yeah. And aside from the opening drive, it's been a stalemate.
Yeah, it has.
Benson to throw, over the middle. He's got a man, incomplete at the 40-yard line. Boy, he had Jace Taylor, and that's a ball Taylor usually catches.
Well, ball intended for Jace Taylor, but right in his face at the throw was Jace Judy, who kind of made him duck that throw just a little bit. And but you know what? The throws have been there for them. They've been in the hands of their intended receivers.
And that forces a punt by Lakeland that goes out of bounds right at midfield. And, Lance, you talk about that passing game. It is a cold, wintry night here in Idaho Falls, and it makes it tough to catch a football if you are not ready for that, because if your hands go cold, just like in golf, you're done.
Well, it's true. And a lot of these games that are hosted down here in the southeast end up being played in the Dome at Pocatello, and up north they end up being played in the Kibbe Dome up at University of Idaho. Well, that's not the case tonight.
No, it's not.
And so it is very weather affected. And oftentimes I've always said that, and this shows out statistically, most of the time bad weather actually benefits a running team as opposed to a passing team, because you're keeping it on the ground. You've already secured the ball.
Sweetwood under center, big hole left side. Sargent into Lakeland territory, down to the 40, gain of 10, and that should be a first down.
Well, and with all the passing that Hillcrest has done, what it did is it's spread those outside linebackers out just a little bit, allowed that to open up, and now that run goes through for number 32, Sargent. Or was that Sargent, or was that might have been Judy?
I think that was Sargent.
We do things differently.
Under center again, handoff, Sargent, left side, picking his way through traffic. Another nice gain inside the 35. Hillcrest, finally something going on offense here as they are moving the football.
Well, and the passing defense has been very good by Lakeland. And so, now you're starting to see a little bit of that adjustment, just like you're seeing that Hillcrest forced Lakeland out of their heavy run game and into a pass game. Now we're starting to see them force Hillcrest into a run game. Because on that pass game, it's not like Hillcrest wasn't completing, but the tackling after the catch was so good by Lakeland.
Right. Second down and 3 for the Knights. Again, Sweetwood under center, bobbles the snap, it's loose. And I think he was able to get back to the football and maybe even picked up a yard.
Yeah, in fact, really, the only reason he was because nobody else on the field knew the ball was down there.
Right.
Everybody else stayed up, and he's the only one that knew it was on the field.
Well, on the fumble, they picked up 2 yards. We'll bring up third down and 1.
Now, oftentimes in this scenario, he goes up under center. Yep, we're seeing it right now, where he goes up under center and ends up kind of with the tush-push.
And this particular drive, he has been under center exclusively. Toss, Larson, hole to the 25 and a first down.
Titan Larson, another one of these. We talk about the different weapons. And, you saw Sargent run some. You saw Larson run some there. You're also going to see Judy run some. Davis will run some. There's it is by committee.
And they do a good job of spreading it out. And on this drive, they've done it up front. First down. Sweetwood gets away out of the backfield. Trying to turn the corner down to the 10 before being thrown out of bounds.
Yeah, it's going to be a
that
first
should
and
be
goal.
A first and goal exactly to the 10. Goes Tyson Sweetwood.
With the kind of quarterback that Sweetwood is, that RPO that he can run to that outside. He did have 2 receivers downfield. However, secondary had gone with them. He ends up keeping that on that RPO, gets down and picks up the yardage he needs. This is the worst place you want to be on a first and goal,
That's
though.
exactly what I think, too. First and goal from the 10. And this, you would think, is a must score for Hillcrest here. Handoff, Sargent, down to about the 6.
Well, one of the things that's tough about a first and goal from the 10-yard line is when you're coming down the field, you have a lot of different options you can do, and one of them is a deep option. That deep option is no more there once you're down on the 10-yard line.
Second down and goal from the 6. 5:45 to go here. Second quarter action. Lakeland on top 14-0. Hillcrest trying to cut that lead in half. Handoff, Sargent, boy, hit at the line of scrimmage. And down he goes, and I think that was for Lakeland, number 29, Bodak.
Yeah, and again, it's number 28, I think, is the actual number on the jersey. But I don't show a 28 on my roster.
And we've got an injured Knight. And around the 10-yard line.
It was a great block on the outside, the lead block for the runner by Meekum out there. The problem was it was the expected defender, and then 2 more defenders came up and just plugged that hole, and there was no go, and now third and goal.
And that's Porter Bice, the injured Hillcrest Knight, to his feet, and a little.
Yeah, Porter Boyce. That's Eric Boyce, his dad, one of the more famous officials here in the state of Idaho. Officiates basketball, does a lot of college basketball as well. There's a lot of Frontier Conference, a lot of Big Sky Conference ball games. In fact, I had an opportunity to talk to Eric coming into the stadium tonight. So he's here watching his boy.
Yeah, we hope he's okay.
He said, yeah, my boy's playing DN there, and he's on offense as well. And he says, otherwise, I wouldn't be here on a cold night like this.
Right, I'd be watching Idaho Sports.
That's
Third
right.
down and goal from the 6. Sweetwood right up the middle and nothing. Maybe inside the 5, but Lakeland there defensively, and that is Landon Burmeister, one of the Hawks, making the play, and that will force Lance a crucial 4th and goal from the 3.
It does, and your decision here is, does a field goal benefit us, or do we really need that touchdown? And now what you've done now is you've come over to that left hash mark as well, so it's opened up the right side of the field a little bit. What kind of speed can you get to that right edge?
And we've got a timeout on the field taken by Hillcrest, and we will keep it right here. As we've got,
Fuzz went down and bought a hamburger before the game. He hasn't taken a single bite of the hamburger, and I ate most of the fries that he had here.
Well, you know what? Speaking of food, Super One Foods out of Lakeland. Tell you what, compromise is not an option. We set the standard. Number 1, we have lower prices, and number 2, we make your dollar stretch further. Visit any Super One Foods in Rathdrum, Hayden, Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, Sandpoint, and Bonners Ferry, and you'll see we set the standard.
So, I've always said when I go around the state, and I love to go fishing, so I go around the state, different spots, and that I love to stop in at places that advertise with Idaho Sports.
Right.
I went in there last year. In fact, I went in there the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah?
Right into that store.
4th and goal, Lakeland in a must score.
They're going to call a timeout. I wondered for a second if there was a false start.
There was a lot of movement there, and then
there
Lakeland.
was a ton of movement.
Lakeland calls this timeout. We'll keep it right here.
That's their second of 3, so they still got another one up there on the board. Hillcrest keeps 2.
The winner of this game will advance to the state title game and will await the winner of tomorrow's contest between Minico and Skyline.
And I believe either way, if I'm thinking right, that game will be scheduled for the ICCU Dome. The state championship game.
I think you're right.
Boy, we are getting some nice snow right now. It's the flurry snow, so it's not sticking to the ground.
Yep.
But it shows you the direction of the wind better than a flag.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does. And boy, we knew that it was going to come, especially in eastern Idaho. We were just hoping it would wait till tomorrow. And here we go. 4th down.
There's that same motion we saw and movement. It's heavy block left.
Sweetwood to the end zone. Touchdown, and Hillcrest needed that. A 3-yard run by Tyson Sweetwood. Quarterback design all the way over that right side. And Hillcrest finally gets on the board at the 4:39 mark here in the second quarter.
And that was well needed. So what they did is they heavy packed the left side, pulled the defense over. Sweetwood up the right.
On for the extra point is Ryland Borgman. And it's a fake up the middle at Lakeland, not fooled at all.
No, we are going to get a penalty on this as well. And it's going to be on Hillcrest. They're looking over to the Lakeland side to see if they want to accept it or not.
And a false start is the call against Hillcrest as the holder just took the ball and went right up the middle trying to catch Lakeland napping, and they were wide awake on that one.
Yeah, they were.
But important for Hillcrest, they get on the board. 4:39 to go here before half. It's 14-6 Lakeland.
Maybe it's just me. I kind of have a conservative nature when it comes to football, but I look at that and I think, okay, if you get that 2-point conversion, great. But I think this is more of a scenario of what's the biggest benefit here, and I think kind of the whole serve portion that we talked about, if you can put 7 up on the board, gives you an even touchdown and extra point on your next one. But that's just me. I don't know their team as well as the coaches do.
Well, nonetheless, it does keep it at a one-score game, 14-6, but you're going to need that two-point conversion at some point. 4:39 to go before the break, 14-6, Lakeland on top. And if you're looking at the wind, and if I'm not mistaken, they are now kicking with the wind.
Yeah, they are. It's kind of a wind kind of coming from the southwest to the northeast. And Borgman, just so you know, he can kick a 50-yard field goal. I mean, he's got a really, really good leg.
Well, that one goes into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback for Lakeland.
Well, Lakeland will bring it out to the 20, you know, and for Lakeland now, it's back on them. What kind of adjustments are you going to make? As they adjusted to your run game, and then they've defended really well your pass game. What kind of adjustments do you got to make? Because I'll tell you, I don't think running the ball straight up McCartney is going to, you know, continuing to do that. I don't think that's going to be what's going to get you back in the run game.
No, you kind of run away from that big fella. But that opening drive, Lakeland owned the ground as they marched right down the field, and then on the second offensive possession, they took advantage of a Hillcrest turnover and marched down the field. Since then, a whole lot of nothing. Just like that play right there. And again, big number 75 defensively.
Yeah, well, and
I think Sargent is there as
well.
well.
Sargent took him down, but again, they ran at McCartney. They saw him and then tried to jump to the left to avoid him. So again, he played a big role in that play, even though he wasn't the one credited with the tackle. It was an avoidance run once they saw him.
A loss of a yard on the play, 2nd down and 11.
You know, and of course, if you come the opposite side, you're big number 66, Simmons, who's a good player as well. And Simmons actually carries a little bit more speed to chase on the edges as well.
Play action. Benson to throw. He's got a man, 2 of them wide open. On the far side, it is complete. To number 8 for Lakeland. That is Clive Hobbs. And if that would have been just a little bit better ball, he was gone.
Well, and Holden, the defender on that play, he bit to the inside and then stayed. And then stayed once the receiver popped out to the outside and went deep. So, yeah, if that would have hit him in stride, that's a touchdown.
And he had a second receiver in the middle as well, wide open. So 2 Lakeland Hawks behind the defense, and Benson just had to pick one of them, and he delivers for the first down up to the 47-yard line. Handoff. Wheel for maybe a couple of yards.
Simmons in on that tackle as well. But you know what? That pass there is a result of what happens when you've run the ball. And even though they've been stopped the last few times on the run, they've continued to run it. And that does affect the defense. And what that does, it makes your secondary a little bit thin because players have to come up a little bit and opens up those receivers.
Gain of a couple on the play. Benson working out of the gun again. Play action to wheel. Out into the flat, complete. Up close to the first down, but not quite.
Titan Larson finally caught up with him. But this is what it leaves, and we talked about this in some of our keys. We haven't got to those fully tonight, but one of them is for Lakeland have those manageable 3rd downs. And that's what that gave them, was a very manageable 3rd and 2. More like 1.5.
And that was Hobbs on the reception. And a 3rd down upcoming now. 3rd down and 2 for Lakeland. From the Hillcrest 45. And Wheel just trying to fight for extra yards. Cannot get to the sticks. It'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like for a second like he might have lost the ball. Apparently not. Yeah, in fact, the coaches were out there saying, that was a fumble. And a Hillcrest kid did come up with it, but they're saying that he was down before it came out. I think this is so Hillcrest will use their second. So each team now down to a single timeout for the first half.
Well, you know, this is an important possession here, especially for the Hillcrest Knights. 2:27 to go before the break. And Lakeland on the march to give up a touchdown right before the half.
Yeah.
You know, swings Big Mo in the favor of the Hawks as Hillcrest has done a nice job defensively making some adjustments to this Lakeland offense and stealing that momentum, especially with that last touchdown that got them on the board.
Well, and this is the thing, too. If you're Hillcrest, if you can get a hold here, remember, you get the ball to start half number 2.
Correct.
And that puts you back on serve if you can pick up a touchdown there.
Absolutely, and that's why this possession is so important for, well, really both of these teams. Defensively, they've got to have a stop. It's 4th down. Here we go. Quickly to the line go the Hawks.
They're trying to draw them off.
4th down and a yard. Benson under center. Boy, he really is trying to draw them off.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing. You got 2.5 minutes on the clock, 2:31 to be exact. If you don't pick up this 4th here, that's pretty short field, comparatively speaking,
right.
For Hillcrest, especially with 2:31 on the clock. That's maybe a little different if there's a minute on the clock. You know, it's a little more ways to go. You got a minute, but with 2.5, that's you just don't want to be giving it to them on the 43-yard line.
You don't. And Hillcrest has 1 timeout remaining. Lakeland has just exhausted their last timeout. But if you're Lakeland, you put the trust in your offensive line. We need 1 yard. You've been doing it for us all year long. You're one of the best offensive lines in 5A. Get us a yard.
You know, so Scott and I just have a ton in common here. We both graduated in 1988. We both went to schools, the black and orange was our colors, Malad, Jerome. Of course, we were good at everything. They sucked at everything. But other than that.
Oh, my word.
No. And we both carry a little bit of a beard. It's just finally Scott is starting to get a little bit of a gray in his beard. I've been gray since my 20s.
Yeah.
Scott's just finally pushing that edge now.
I'm going to pluck them out one by one. And on 4th down, they've got the 1st down. Will trying to get a little extra. Down to the 31 he goes.
And once again, Will breaks out of a wrap tackle. Finally brought down by number 2, Mason Saunders, but not till he picks up significant yardage and, of course, that important 1st down.
And Lakeland can't stop the clock with any timeouts because they have exhausted them all. We've got 2:15. Clock continues to run before the break, but Lakeland knocking on the door here at the end of the first half. This is a huge drive for both of these teams. Handoff, Wheel, patience, trying to find some room and just dives forward for a few as he got out of the arms of Titan Larson and scooted ahead for about 3 or 4 on the play.
You know, Will is not a super big player, but one of the things he does really well, he does the basic that you're taught your very first year ever playing football when you carry the ball. Once you get hit, keep moving your feet. If you keep moving your feet, good things happen. It's those extra yards or 2 that you get on those that make a difference.
And on 2nd down, it's Wheel again, reversing course, and he's got some room on the outside. Wheel to the goal line. Oh, my goodness, what a run by Wheel. Touchdown, Lakeland.
I think we just need to put an S on the end of his last name, and that tells us even more about him.
What a highlight reel run that was from Lovey Wheel. Shut down on the right side, nowhere to go. Just turned around and headed the other direction against the grain. Had a couple of blockers out front. And Lakeland on the board again, 1:22 to go before the half.
So he went from being at a potential loss in the backfield to putting another touchdown on the board. And again, this hurts. If you're Hillcrest, you really needed to hold them there and be able to hold serve, getting the ball back to start quarter number 3.
Well, the only bright spot at the moment for Hillcrest on that is they've got a $1:22 on the clock. So there is time, and they do have a timeout.
Well, and they do have good returners as well. So if they can avoid a kick into the end zone here that gives it to them on the 20, and let's say they can get this out to the, across at least the 35-yard line, they put themselves in legitimate range. And one thing that we do know about Hillcrest, they do have the deep threat with Judy and with Sargent.
And they certainly do, and Lakeland's going to be ready for that. We'll see what Hillcrest offensively can dial up here in the final 1:22 to steal that momentum back that Lakeland has just snatched away from the Knights. And again, with another squib, and if they can just field that cleanly and get a return on it, They might be able to do something, but again, they can't do anything with it.
That they have not been able to stop that ball on first contact. All night. They have not been able to stop that on first contact. But, buck 19 to work with and some deep threats. Hillcrest could still get back in kind of that serve game that we talk about if they could pick up a touchdown here going into the half.
21-6, Lakeland on top. 1:19 to go before the break. Hillcrest.
I still haven't seen Boyce come back onto the field, who they took back to the locker room with an injury early in the second quarter.
First down for the Knights. Sweetwater working out of the gun to throw. Quick throw to Judy. Or actually not Judy. That was number 19, Davis. And just off his fingertips, incomplete.
Well, and the D-end, Paulus on that, forced that pass because he was there in the space, put that arm up. He forced that pass to be thrown to the south side and just out of the outreached hands of the receiver.
Second down and 10. Clock stopped, 1:16 to go.
We are going to have single coverage on the right.
Sweetwater rolling to his right, deep down the field, nobody home.
Overthrows his receiver that time.
Yeah, he was
Intended
looking
receiver,
for Webster.
Number 7, Webster.
The throwing conditions are obviously starting to worsen here.
Well, and we're starting to see, from what was flurry snow before, we're starting to see a little bit of a white glaze come across the field as well.
Clock stopped, 1:10.
Looks like donut glaze.
Ooh.
Doesn't that sound kind of good? The problem is, at our age, that just sticks to your gut when you
my gosh.
when you eat it.
It does. It makes my ribs disappear. Sweetwater quarterback draw, design quarterback draw, has the first down and up to the 48-yard line. Clock will stop as they move the chains. 1:03 on the clock. Hillcrest quickly to the line, trying to steal one here and get that 2-for-1 right before the half.
Yep, and they've got their 4-down set called. And again, they've got receivers to the out. He's going to come to his check down.
Judy gets a little block on the outside, and he goes out of bounds into Lakeland Hawk territory at the 42.
Yeah, Judy did a good job of getting out of bounds, getting that clock stop. He was the check down receiver on that. He's out of the trips. He stayed in the backfield, or just even with the line anyway, to get that. When nobody opened up downfield, Sweetwood able to come to Judy for the option.
49 seconds, clock is stopped. It's second down and 1. Sweetwood flushed out of the pocket to his right, looks down the field, and then just hucks one up for grabs in the middle, and nearly caught and nearly intercepted as a couple of different people had a shot at it.
I don't think that pass was blocked. It was close to getting blocked. I don't think it was blocked. I think it just came out of his hand funny.
Yeah, it's wet.
But when the defender is right there, and I'll tell you that if that ball would have got off half a second later, that arm would have been hit, and it might have very well been a fumble.
And it was Davis for the Knights that almost came down with it. And it's 3rd and 1. Clock stopped, 41 seconds. Sweetwood, handoff. Larson, first down inside the 35.
And I'll tell you, on that long pass play that they just had too, I think they might have got away with an illegal lineman downfield as well. But again, it's got to get called.
Up into the pocket goes Sweetwood. He's got some room, and he wisely gets out of bounds. Inside or around the 25-yard line. Clock stopped, 25 seconds to go.
Remember, Lakeland out of timeouts.
Hillcrest still has one timeout to use, and that opens up the entire field for the Knights. As the line of scrimmage is the 23.
And now you see the prevent and the spread defensively to stop anything right to the end zone.
Got Sweetwood, Larson to his left. Sweetwood looking to the left into double coverage for Judy. It's incomplete.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing that really surprises me right there, especially with that timeout left. They only were bringing 3 linemen defensively that time, and the middle of that field opened right up. I think Sweetwood could have probably got down inside the 10-yard line if he'd have kept that.
Well, let's see if Hillcrest noticed that, because they do have a timeout to burn, 21 seconds. 2nd down and 10 from the 24. And there it is right there, Sweetwood up the middle, inside the 20, down to the 11-yard line.
And there's that timeout as he was unable to get out of bounds. But even the play before it even opened up a little bit more, but he took advantage of what he had there. It must have been something they noticed,
15 seconds to go.
And this is huge for both these teams again, this would, if Hillcrest can score here, this puts them back to basically where they were, on the previous possession, and being able to come out maybe in the third quarter and tie something up.
Exactly, but this is a very, very important drive for the Knights to come away with something here.
So the ball's on the 11. So it is possible technically to pick up a first down. However, with 15 seconds, I'd imagine in these next couple plays you've got to punch it in.
And they're going to have a couple of plays called in the huddle ready to go. So here we are, 1st and 10 from the 11. The Knights in need of a score.
You got probably 3 plays here.
Sweetwood out of the gun. To the right of him is Larson. Sweetwood over the middle to the goal line. Is he in? Touchdown! And what an answer by the Knights, and did they need it?
Webster.
Marcus Webster on the receiving end of that touchdown pass from Sweetwood with 11 seconds to go before the half. And they're waving off whatever penalty flag was thrown. The touchdown is good.
Boy, and it was a good hit. But all he had to do was hold on to the ball because he was already across the goal line, but it was a fantastic hit.
Boy, what an answer from Hillcrest, because the Lakeland Hawks on that last touchdown run by Wheel, boy, that took the wind right out of the sails of the Hillcrest Knights. But they had an answer with 1.5 minutes to go. And here we are going for 2, and they got it. Boy, that was needed.
Now with that 2-point conversion, they do have more of an even serve coming out with the ball to get the first half.
Boy, that
half.
changes everything, because if they were to come away empty there, the pressure of that opening drive on Hillcrest is immense just to stay in the game. But now, having scored late and getting the football to start the second half, that changes the entire scope of this game.
Yeah,
the context of this has shifted in the
really
past
does.
90 seconds.
And for Hillcrest, they're looking to get back to the state championship game for the 2nd year in a row. Remember, they were undefeated last year going into that state championship game, ended up losing a close one to Bishop Kelly. And how weird is it to see Bishop Kelly not in the state playoffs during the quarterfinals?
Hillcrest to kick it off 11 seconds before the break. You can probably expect, well, I was going to say no return, but it's going to the end zone.
Well, and returns have not, the returns have been even worse for Hillcrest, but they haven't been really great for either team tonight. So it might be a welcome sign for the players and the coaches to see one go into the end zone and say, okay, nothing destructive can happen on this.
Yeah, we can't mess this one up. 11 seconds to go, and I would imagine that Lakeland might consider taking a knee here just to get to the halftime locker room with a 7-point advantage.
Brand new field here at Hillcrest, and they got the lights on the light poles up there that flash the different colors, when Hillcrest scores.
And it looks like Lakeland will take a knee, and they do, and that will do it for the first half. Boy, Lakeland started out strong. Hillcrest managed to fight back, and then Lakeland seemed to steal the momentum with 90 seconds to go before the break, but Hillcrest had the answer that kept this thing tight. And I think we're in for a really interesting second half.
Yeah, well, you know, you look at Lakeland on that reverse run by Will that came out the right side of the field for them, was not open. He punches back to the left and runs it all the way in. Just a $1:22 on the clock when that happened. And then with that squib kick, it bounced off a player and took a few more seconds before they even finally recovered it.
Boy, wild 90 seconds to wrap up that first half, and both teams now head to the locker room. Your halftime score, Lakeland 21, Hillcrest 14. We'll be back right after these messages with the halftime show. This is IdahoSports.com.
Dear road rivals, every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan. Nissan and Ford charge extra for maintenance. At Toyota, we take care of our drivers. Join us. Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health insurance. Your Health Idaho's got you covered with all you need to know. Open enrollment is the time of year where you can enroll in or change your health insurance coverage. And Your Health Idaho is the place to go for quality coverage at a lower cost. 25% of enrollees pay $25 or less. Make sure to enroll by December 16th to get covered and save money.
Thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks. Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Ads like this keep popping up, but I see through.
About open enrollment for health insurance. Your Health Idaho's got you covered with all you need to know. Open enrollment is the time of year where you can enroll in or change your health insurance coverage. And Your Health Idaho is the place to go for quality coverage at a lower cost. 25% of enrollees pay $25 or less. Make sure to enroll by December 16th to get covered and save money.
We're Valleywide Cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC,
Welcome back to Hillcrest High School. Just about ready to start second half action. Scott Burton alongside my broadcast partner Lance Taylor, joined by Paul Kingsbury, Logan Kelso, and Fuzz Taylor in this massive production in the snow at Hillcrest in Idaho Falls. And, you take a look at that first half, Lance, and, you could just see the momentum swing back and forth. And Lakeland stole it right away, jumped up 14-0. Hillcrest cut it in half. Missed the 2-point conversion, but got the touchdown. And then Lakeland stole it right before the half, going in for that late score. But Hillcrest had the answer right before the break. And now the Knights are going to get the football back with a chance to tie the score if they can make good on this opening drive.
And Hillcrest found some things that started working for them later in that second quarter. Some things that weren't working for them to start the ball game. I mean, they started off with a turnover and then a punt, and that was against 2 touchdowns of Lakeland. And here is another squib kick that was not handled on the initial touch.
No, it wasn't, and it'll be first down for the Knights at the 25-yard line.
I think that's one of those things, if you're Hillcrest, that there was a couple times they were awfully close to losing that as they tried to scoop that up. And I think at halftime they probably addressed that and said, guys, on those squib kicks, we're just dropping on it. We're not even going to try to pick it up and return it. Let's just drop on it, and we'll work our way down the field with our offense.
Yeah, if you get that little Sunday hop, that's a whole different story. But you're not going to try to make the play and put your team in a precarious situation with a turnover.
Yeah.
Especially in these types of conditions, because it is slippery out on that field.
It is.
It is wet, and it's tough sledding right now.
Yeah, and the glaze has gotten more on the field.
Handoff, first guy through. Not a whole lot happening there for Hillcrest on first down.
No, and waiting for his blockers on that play, but it just never opened up. I think that was number 3, Titan Larson, that was carrying that, and it just the no space opened up, and it eventually just got to the point where it's like, I just don't want to lose any now, so let's get it back to the line of scrimmage. But he did end up picking up a yard.
Second down and 9 for Hillcrest. And looking to throw, and he's got a man over the middle, but what a play defensively by Lakeland. That was Cash Lund. And if Lund didn't get a hand on that, that could have been trouble for the Hawks.
Oh, yeah, because that pass was in stride, and there's no question. And Cash Lund, the junior outside linebacker, boy, he dropped back, and what a great defensive play.
Third down and 9 now for Hillcrest on their opening drive here in the second half. Sweetwood rolling to his right. And a catch made at the 31, I believe. And if he held on to that, boy, what a grab that was. And it looks like it was complete. That is Mason Davis.
Yeah, this is going to bring up fourth down. And the Hillcrest coach is down on the sideline, and they were right. He was held going out to that side. There was a handful of jersey. It wasn't called. It looks like they're going to possibly go for it here on fourth and then let their defense hold if they don't get it.
Well, it's 4th and 4 from the 31.
The conservative man in me says, punt this.
Opening drive here, second half. It's 4th down. The offense on the field for Hillcrest, and they're going to go for it. Sweetwood, left side. He's got it, first down. What a gutsy call by the Hillcrest coaching staff on the opening drive here in the second half.
Well, and so we've seen both teams now go on crucial fourth downs where if they don't get it, it could have been destructive. And each one of them picked it up. Lakeland in the first half and Hillcrest here in the second.
And this one out of the flat, complete. And the ball is on the ground. It's loose, knocked away by Lakeland, and they've got the turnover.
So Hillcrest, their first drive of the first half ended in a fumble. Their first drive of the second half ends in a fumble, or in a turnover. So while on the carry, he's got, by the way, all 3 of their touchdowns tonight. The 6:41 mark and the 1:03 mark of quarter number 1, a 2-yard run and a 52-yard run, and then a 32-yard miraculous run in the second quarter.
Well, he's such a good patient runner, and he gets the toss here following a wall of blockers on the far side. and close to another first down.
Yeah, and he's going to pick it up by a couple yards.
Goes wild. And, and I tell you, this Lakeland crew is making the most of the opportunities that they're given. We saw Hillcrest turn the ball over in the first quarter, and Lakeland scored on the ensuing drive. Here we are, Lakeland, with another turnover, starting to march it down the field. They are inside the 30 of Hillcrest. And that was third down and about a yard, and I think they're going to move the sticks.
And it's weird because on that last run by Weil, the official over on the far side showed that he had picked it up by a couple yards, and somewhere another official must have seen him go out earlier and move it back.
So the sticks move. Lakeland on the move at the 26 of Hillcrest. They lead at 21-14. Opening moments here of the third quarter. 9 minutes on the clock. Clock is moving. On first down, you've got Benson out of the gun. Play action to Weil. And boy, Benson brought down in the backfield, nowhere to go. Good play by Hillcrest, getting in there and messing things up was Jackson Burrows.
Damian Simmons was able to get back there as well. And I'll tell you, they got a little forward progression on it, but he dang near went unblocked through that line.
Yeah, beg your pardon, 66, not 56. Boy, that was just a great defensive play by Hillcrest, and it's what they need to put Lakeland behind the sticks, down in distance. It's second down and 13 because Lakeland had been winning the first down battle, setting up station 3 right, 1 to the left, handoff Weil gets through the first wave and down to the 25, and a nice gain on third down sets up fourth and manageable.
Well, that's the important thing for Weil, as Dak Sargent finally brought him down, is he's got to get through that initial line. We saw in the later part of that second quarter where they were trying to run the ball at McCartney, and there was just nothing going on there. Well, they avoid him that time, go to the opposite side of the line, and they give it to Dax to have to tackle him in midfield.
Big third down for the Hillcrest defense. Fourth down and a long 3. Here we go. Toss. Weil. And Weil is going to be close, and I think he got it.
Ooh, boy. Initially, I thought he got it by a little ways, and then I see, they're going to move the chains right now.
That's a first down for Lakeland, and Hillcrest had them right where they wanted. Third down and 13. And 2 plays later, Lakeland's moving the sticks.
Well, and I think one thing that we might be talking about coming towards the end of this ball game might be that first possession fumble of the second half for Hillcrest.
Oh, absolutely. Weil, again, just picking his way down that right side behind his blockers. Hillcrest defensively not allowing a whole lot.
Yeah, and Sargent had to get on there again. But still a 4-yard gain on the play, and if you're Lakeland, if you can pick those up in chunks like that, you got the 21-14 lead. You have an opportunity to go back up 2 scores here with basically half of the third quarter gone. And you've controlled the ball for most of it.
Yes, you have. 6.5 minutes to go. Clock is moving. Third quarter. Lakeland up by 7, knocking on the door for more. It's second down. Handoff. Weil. Boy, thrown to the turf hard, but not after he picked up about 3 or 4.
Yeah, and again, it's another one of those scenarios, picking up chunk yards, and Hillcrest actually got away with a pretty obvious offsides on that play. But, either way.
Simmons with a tackle for Hillcrest.
Lakeland had the positive yards.
And this will bring up third down and 2. The ball is on the 8-yard line. So you've got 2 yards for the first down, 8 yards for the touchdown.
And if you're Lakeland, you got to hold on to the ball. Don't let the cold temperatures and slick ball result in the same kind of turnover that you forced on the other end.
Again, picking on that right side goes Weil.
He's near that first down marker. It's awfully close.
They're having a lot of success on that right side, Lance.
They are, and you know what? I as slick as the ball is, the snap and the hold.
Oh, I can't even hear it. Oh yeah, sorry. I didn't even hear it. I didn't even hear that. Here we go. This is a big, big play for both of these teams. And this one
touchdown
is into the end zone for Lakeland and a touchdown. They make Hillcrest pay for the turnover again.
And once again, it's Weil.
What a night for Lovey Weil, as he has just been end zone dancing for the Hawks all night long. .452 to go, third quarter, 27-14. Lakeland back up by 2 scores.
Dry in the field just a little bit.
And no problem there with the extra point. 28-14 to go, or 28-14, Lakeland on top. 4:52 to go, third quarter. We'll step away, be right back to Hillcrest High School right after this.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health.
I'm always looking for new ways to save, but I haven't found anything better than my P1FCU Ascend checking account. It's a free account that earns 3.5% APY of your average monthly balance. That could feed your coffee obsession for 2 weeks. Not only am I earning money, but I also have all the great features of a checking account.
And a first down for Hillcrest as the drive continues for the Knights.
And Bauer saved a touchdown there. He was the only defender remaining, and had Bauer not have got him from behind, that was going to be a touchdown for Sargent.
1st and 10, Hillcrest. And a bobbled snap by Sweetwood. He's able to pick it up, but he's going to lose some yardage on the play.
He is.
And unfortunately for Hillcrest, a negative play on this drive is not what they need, especially when they have all the momentum swinging in their favor.
That's right, and you're a full touchdown down, so this is one where, especially with as much time as Lakeland can take off the clock, a field goal really doesn't do you good here. You know, we talk about just having to beat one defender. I'll actually get into that here in just a minute.
2nd down and 13 after the loss of 3. Sweetwood out of the gun, rolling to his left, looks down the field to the corner of the end zone. He's got a man. Did he catch it? It looks like he did. Complete.
Down inside the 5.
And pass complete to Mason Davis.
Mason Davis, that's a name that we called a lot when they opened up the playoffs with Sandpoint here. Haven't called his name near as much tonight, but what a fantastic laid out for that catch.
And disappeared out of our vision, but what a grab by Davis. And it's 1st and goal from the 3. Hillcrest 3 yards away from possibly tying the game. Sweetwood under center. Toss, Sargent to the goal line. Touchdown.
Wow. We have a new ball game if they can get this extra point.
7:31 to go in the contest. And Hillcrest, after being down 2 scores twice in this ball game, are an extra point away from tying it up.
And now they've scored the most recent 2 touchdowns in this game as well.
This is a big extra point. And the crowd has gone completely silent because they know what's at stake here. The kick is up and perfect. And we are tied at 28, 7:31 to go in the 4th and final period. And Lance, boy, buckle up because the final minutes of this one are as advertised. We knew these guys coming in were equally matched.
Yep.
Lakeland has been in control since the onset. Hillcrest refusing to go away, being down 2 scores twice, have battled back with 7.5 to tie the ball game, and Big Mo sits in a black and red jersey at the moment.
You know, we're talking about, being 1 tackle away from breaking into an end zone. Last night there was an 8-man game going on in the mini dome before the Sugar and Kimberly game, and a couple of the players asked me before. I said, it's not uncommon for these 8-man games to get up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Even had a couple games last year that got into the hundreds with that 8-man football. And they said, why is that? Why do they score so much more in 8-man football? I says, well, think about how many times in an 11-man game when you're just 1 tackle away from breaking it. Think what happens when you take 6 total men off the field, between the 2 teams, and you're playing on the same size field.
Yeah, absolutely. 7:31 to go. Will Lakeland have an answer? The snow continues to fall lightly now and not so much sideways as before. And that one kicked out into the parking lot.
Yep.
And it will be 1st down.
We just saw big 75 McCartney run out on the field, and he's jumping and bouncing, and these Hillcrest guys are excited. But now you've got to come out, and you've got to get those stops. You have to get those stops. Now, you proved you can get the stops before.
Well, really quickly, Lakeland at Super One Foods, compromise is not an option. We set the standard. Number one, we have lower prices. And number two, we make your dollar stretch further. Visit any Super One Foods in Rathdrum, Hayden, Coeur d'Alene, and Post Falls, Sandpoint, or Bonners Ferry, and you'll see we set the standard. Go Hawks.
So I haven't been to all of them, but I've been to the one in Rathdrum, and I've been to the one in Bonners Ferry.
Super One Foods.
I went up there to fish the Kootenai. Bonners Ferry.
Formation shifts now for the Hawks. And Benson fakes and goes to the left side and runs into a wall of Knights. No gain.
And right now, these excited players for Hillcrest aren't feeling this cold temperature. They're just pumped. Want to win a ball game. And Lakeland trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
7 minutes now remaining in the ball game.
Well, after that muff punt, Lakeland had an opportunity to go up big and nearly put it away. The defense for Hillcrest held. They scored a touchdown, and now they've got a renewed life. And on the pass, it is bobbled and then pulled in, but did he corral it within the field of play?
No, he didn't end up doing that. They're going to bring it back, but it was actually slightly tipped by Titan Larson, if you saw that.
Mm-hmm.
He lofted over. Sargent was coming in, Judy was coming in on the defense left side. And then as that ball was kind of lofted a little bit, it was Larson just barely kind of touched it and got it off its path.
Yeah, Clive Hobbs, the intended receiver, nearly able to come down with it. 6:47 to go. Clock stopped on the incompletion. It's 3rd down and 9 now for the Lakeland Hawks. Trips right. While the lone setback, Benson to throw. Flushed out of the pocket, rolling to his left, nowhere to go. And he has to throw it away, and the defense of the Knights, they've held.
They have, and it's Simmons. Simmons, we've seen him, he had a big sack earlier in the game, came in the first half, and this one it doesn't go down as a sack, but dang near just as effective as bringing up 4th down and going to bring the punt.
Well, the last time that Lakeland punted the football, Hillcrest roughed the punter and then muffed the punt.
Yeah.
And this time they don't even send anybody back.
It's one of those you just look and say, we tried to just dropping on it now. Now just let it go.
Yeah, we're just going to let it die, and they did. You know what?
And of course, on a punt, you can do that.
Yeah, and that's the smart play. They saw what happened last time, and it nearly cost them. So don't send anybody back. You're going to get good field position, and they do. They're going to get it at their own 40-yard line. 6:34 to go, and you can just feel a renewed life breathed into the sideline of the Hillcrest Knights, as well as this crowd and the coaching staff in the box to our right. Is everybody now has come alive if you are a Knight fan. Lakeland has controlled the game. They really have.
Yeah.
And all they need now is to come up with a defensive stop and get the ball back. We're tied at 28, 6:34 to go. Handoff. And that is Larson.
Well, awaiting the winner of this ball game is going to be the state championship game for Hillcrest. They'd like to get back there for the 2nd year in a row. Lakeland would like to get there, and I believe, the other game, Skyline and Minico, I believe whatever happens that will be held in the ICCU Dome at Pocatello. No matter who wins this game, I believe that's where it will be held.
2nd down, 7. Handoff, second man through. Larson again. He's going to be short of the 1st down by about 3 or 4 yards, depending on the spot. It'll bring up 3rd down and short for Hillcrest. 3rd and 3. On the tackle is Levi Pallas for Lakeland. And this is a big 3rd down here, as we're right at midfield or close to it. 3rd down and 3. Handoff. That's a 1st down for Sargent, and Sargent's loose in the secondary. Sargent inside the 30, knocked out of bounds near the 20-yard line, and Hillcrest in business.
Well, and Bauer, who's had a couple touchdown-saving tackles of his own, out there and gets him out of bounds on this one, but Hillcrest on the move again. And, momentum so crucial in any ball game, and we're seeing it here.
Boy, big run by Sargent sets up the Knights, and they're going to mark him out at the 21. 5:18 to go. Still plenty of time. We saw the final 90 seconds of that first half produce 2 touchdowns, so we are a long way from being done here. But Hillcrest on the move, trying to take their first lead of the game. They're 21 yards away from pay dirt. Handoff. This is going to be Sargent bouncing off of tacklers. Picks up about 3 or 4.
Yep. And now clock also starts to play a little bit of time in this as well. In a ball game as well. That changes things up a little bit. Maybe changes the plays you'd want to call if you're Lakeland when you get the ball back, whether it's on a defensive stop or on a kickoff.
Yeah, 4:45 to go. Clock is moving. Lakeland has 2 timeouts. Hillcrest has 3. Both of these teams have capable kickers, so that becomes an option if need be. Sweetwood to throw. In trouble, fires across the middle. Is it caught?
It is.
It is. Boy, what a throw and catch.
It's the Cannon Davis version of Davis, and boy, yeah, right on the sticks. Right on the sticks.
Boy, that was a tough throw by Sweetwood, as he had to throw pretty much across his body, and Davis was right there. So here we go, 1st and 10 from the 10. So it's 1st and goal from the 10. Handoff. Larson close to the goal line, stopped just short.
Yeah, boy, and I'll tell you, you see the side judge run over, and that can't be more than just a couple inches short of that goal line. I would not be surprised to see him just keep it in Sweetwood's hands and do a little tush push here.
At the 1-yard line, 2nd down and goal. Sweetwood under center. Handoff to the end zone, touchdown Larson, and Hillcrest has their first lead of the night.
Well, there's no such thing as a 2-yard or a 2-inch stat. So he gets
a full yard
he
on the
gets
play.
credited for 1 yard on the play.
And the extra point coming from Hillcrest.
And down to 3:23 on the clock.
Ryland Borgman, the all-important extra point. High snap, good hold, and Borgman delivers. The kick is good, 3:23 to go, 4th quarter, and Hillcrest has taken the lead 35-28. Still plenty of time for Lakeland to get something going here, as they will have probably, well, depending on how it goes, 1 drive, maybe 2, depending on how the timeouts go. But
well, and Hillcrest has taken this lead back on 3 unanswered touchdowns.
Yep. And it all started after the muffed punt by Hillcrest.
Yeah.
That's when their defense stood up and stopped Lakeland, when Lakeland could have punched that in on a short field and really put a stranglehold on this game. They failed to do so. Hillcrest offensively answered, and here we are.
Well, and if they sneak out of this with a victory, they're going to be able to either face a conference foe that beat them earlier in the season or face a cross-conference team in Minico. If Lakeland does, then they would have an opponent in common.
And that kick
got a little bit of a leg.
Just a little bit.
And again, that just hurts to watch. As cold as it is out there, that just hurts to watch. My toe starts throbbing just watching that kid kick that.
We were watching the game I was calling last week in Dietrich. We had a kid with a huge leg, and, in those small schools, PA guys are just basically just saying whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
He kicks the extra point, and he kicks it into the hayfield. And so a kid jumps the fence and goes into the hayfield and gets the ball. And after that, we were just monitoring every kickoff, everything, and nearly kicked it into the snack bar.
Well, you know what?
On one occasion.
You get some of those small schools, there might be some cattle up against the fence watching that game. Free of charge. Wow.
Boy.
Look who grabbed him first. It's
Big
McCartney.
number 75. And Wiles had no chance on the play. Loss of 4, 2nd and 14. And if you're Lakeland right now, challenging the teeth of that Hillcrest defense is not going to be in your favor, as they are headed straight downhill as fast as they can. This is where something misdirection, something different to take advantage of the over pursuit right now is Hillcrest, as they are fired up to throw. Going deep down the field. He's caught. Streaking to the goal line. Unbelievable touchdown, Lakeland. Oh, my. Cash Lund.
What a pass, what a catch, and what a run.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We've got a flag on the field. And everybody
they might
is
be calling
walking
an illegal motion
backwards.
No, they're going to call a hold.
Holding against Lakeland.
Wow.
What a call at the most inopportune time for Lakeland. Wow.
I didn't see it happen. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. My eyes were following the ball. But that's big. But, if it happens, you got to call it. But that is crucial. And that's a 10-yard spot foul as well.
Boy, what a penalty that is at 2:29 to go. Instead of a game-tying touchdown, it is 2nd and 22 from their own 8-yard line. Trips to the left for quarterback Hayden Benson and the Lakeland Hawks. And he'll set up and throw that way, and I thought that got tipped.
It did.
And then knocked to the ground, incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down and 22.
3rd and Rigby to go.
Yeah. Boy, what a swing in momentum that penalty flag can make.
Hillcrest in their first full year playing on their own field. For years and years and years, they shared a field with Bonneville, Thunder Stadium. And last season, this was supposed to be done. Mm-hmm. And it didn't get done for the season. And then comes the midseason, still wasn't done. So this is their first year on it.
3rd down and 22 from their own 8. Trips right for Benson. Benson to throw, looks that direction, fires over the head of the intended receiver. He was looking for Burmeister. It's incomplete, and it's 4th and 22 from their own 8. And with 2 timeouts to go, boy, Lakeland is in a pickle.
Mason Saunders on the defensive assignment there, and he was behind the intended receiver, and it still went over Saunders' head as well.
Well, and Lakeland just burned their 2nd timeout, so what does that tell you?
Yeah, it's down to 1, and they've got it. I mean, this is the one where you pull out the, that play deep in the playbook that you say if it's going to happen, it might have to happen with this.
And that tells you that they're going for it here on 4th down.
Well, they have to.
They do. I mean, with the 2 timeouts and now the 1.
And 2:22 on the clock. A lot of 2s in that statement,
by
the way.
A lot of 2s. And when you don't get a 2-minute warning in football, so you don't get that extra stoppage or the media timeout, if you will, or any of that stuff.
They don't give us a timeout? Dang it.
Well, we just take them.
There's no red hat down there on the field. Well, there's tons of red hats in the stadium with Hillcrest colors, but there's no official red hat on the or down on the field. The guy, when I'm watching a college game live, you watch the red hat walk out there because nothing can take place till he walks off the field.
Right.
He's the media guy. And Hillcrest, you go just 30 minutes ago, Hillcrest was wondering, man, are we going to be able to get back in this ball game? And now here they are with a 4th and forever for Lakeland, about to get the ball back.
Big play right here, play of the game for both of these teams. Lakeland trying to keep their season alive. Hillcrest trying to come from behind and slam the door. It's 4th and 22. Benson to throw, steps up, delivers down the middle, overshoots everybody, incomplete. There are no flags, and Hillcrest will take over.
And of course, they're much better off with that interception not taking place, because now they get the ball down by the goal line, could potentially, for security, if they punch this in, this would not be a trying to run the score up on a team kind of punch in. This would be a security punch in.
Yeah, absolutely. A little insurance touchdown, if you will, as they are up by 7, 35-28, and everything pointing in the direction of the Hillcrest Knights, and a comeback for the Knights in a game that they could have rolled over and died a couple of times as Lakeland had them down.
Well, they were, they had the turnover problems with 3 tonight, and Lakeland actually scored as a result of those turnovers. And so it's really a scenario where you had to dig deep. You had to find out a lot about yourself in this game.
So 1st and goal from the 8.
We're going to get a timeout.
And I think we are going to get a timeout.
I think it's going to be taken by Hillcrest, actually.
Well, it is.
Yes,
It'll be Hillcrest. But, yeah, this is going to be a game where Hillcrest is going to look back and go, you know what, we got away with one. We turned the ball over 3 times, which resulted in 2 Lakeland touchdowns, and we can't do that if we want to win a state title.
And 2 of those turnovers came on first possession of the first half, first possession of the second half. And second half one when they were trying to come back and make serve. And so the third quarter went like this. They come out and they turn the ball over. And then Lakeland with Weil at the 4:52 mark of the third period gets the 6-yard TD run plus the extra point. And then it's Hillcrest, Hillcrest, Hillcrest with Titan, Sargent, and Larson all scoring touchdowns.
And then they got the stops when they needed it and just hung around and didn't let Lakeland put them away. And on first down, it is Larson to the end zone, touchdown. There's the insurance you were talking about.
Comes at the 2:10 mark in the fourth quarter.
41-28.
He's got consecutive touchdowns in the game now as well.
Boy, that's a huge run for Hillcrest here in this second half.
Well, and with one timeout for the Hawks, there's not a lot of options. You have to march down the field quick and then hopefully get an onside kick. 4 unanswered touchdowns. 4 unanswered touchdowns.
Low snap, the kick, of course, is up and good.
Borgman's having a little bit of fun tonight.
Oh, I think so. He's going to have to ice his leg, but then again, maybe just roll around on the ground and it's iced.
Feels like a rodeo on Sunnyside Avenue here in Idaho Falls.
42-28 is your score, 2:10 to go.
Hey, I'll tell you what, coming up after the game, of course, the IdahoSports.com player of the game, we talk about what a coveted award that is. That is like gold in your pocket, and we've had a number of players vying for it. And it's going to be a little tough to choose. Sometimes it's obvious, but it's a little tough to choose on a game like this.
It really is. Player of the game brought to you by Idaho Office of Highway Safety. And it is. It's going to be a little discussion off air to figure out who in the heck this is going to be.
Yeah. Certainly is.
Well, we got 2:10 to think about it, and Lakeland's got 2:10 to resurrect their season, which is right now.
Yeah, they got to try to get a touchdown within a minute or so.
And that one may get a return, and it will, from inside the 5. And if Lakeland out to the 20. They need to score quickly. They need another Cash Lund bomb down the sideline and then recover an onside kick, which, anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, there's possibility and probability. And right now they're on the possibility side, the probability not near as much. Meekum on that tackle there with that, we talked about earlier in the game how far of a drive it is from Rathdrum down to here, particularly on a bus. And, when you have to make that drive home and it's after a win, it's kind of a celebratory drive. Yeah, it's long, but it's celebratory. If you go back after a loss, that turns that 9-10 hour drive into what feels like a 20-hour drive.
It does. 2:04 to go. Lakeland with the football. 1st and 10 at the 21. They need a quick score. Benson steps up into the pocket, nowhere to go, has to tuck it and run. Gets out to about the 29-yard line before he has stood up and driven backwards, and it will be second down. The clock is moving at 1:45.
Tell you, he took about a 5-step drop in that pocket because he ran about 20 yards and still didn't get the first down. It was a big drop in the pocket looking for his receivers.
Lakeland not really seeming to be in much of a hurry here.
They have trips left.
But they need a quick score. And the pass complete on the far side. And that screen just blown up.
It was, as it was Larson out there, and he just blocked the offensive player right into his receiver. That was after the catch was caught, so it was kind of you give half the tackle to a teammate.
Yeah, and they lost a couple on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Clock is moving. We are now under a minute to go. Benson to throw, over the middle, knocked away again. Guess who? Boy, McCartney has had himself quite a ball game.
Think he's related to Paul?
A little bigger.
If he comes over to the side after and starts singing, now shake it up, baby, and now shake it up, baby, twist and shout. Now, then we'll know there's some relation there.
Yeah, no kidding. Boy, tell you what, he can be whatever he wants tonight as he has owned that line of scrimmage defensively.
He has.
And it's 4th down and 3. And if Lakeland somehow wants to pull a miracle, they've got to convert here. Benson to throw. He's got a man complete on the far side. That'll be a first down. The clock stops.
It's definitely caught.
On a great catch. And that will bring up a first down. And, bouncing around the scores, we've got Rigby beating Rocky in the 4th, 21-18. Eastern Idaho showing up tonight. And Eagle 14-0 over Coeur d'Alene. First down pass just out of the reach of the intended receiver. That is Cash Lund.
Yeah, and Judy on the defensive assignment. We haven't called Judy's name as much tonight as typically do in a game, but it doesn't mean that he hasn't played a big role. Sometimes you got to get a good defender like Judy, and sometimes his name might not be called as much just because teams avoid throwing to him or throwing at him, when he's on defense. And he's a great ball player for this Hillcrest Knight bunch.
45 seconds to go. 2 receivers right, 2 left for Benson. Benson steps up again, nowhere to go, breaks 1 tackle into Hillcrest territory inside the 40, inside the 35, and down he goes. Clock stops as they move the chains. 34 seconds. Now, if you're Lakeland, I don't know. I mean, get to the line. Let's go. You've got 1 timeout. This isn't.
Well, yeah, the decisions on the plays you're going to do should be figured out in practice, not here on the field.
And now Benson to throw. To the sideline, complete, and out of bounds, I think. Yeah, finally goes out of bounds. I wasn't sure they were going to get there. Is number 83 for Lakeland, who's not on a roster.
No, we have a number of these Lakeland players that are not on our roster. Not that the player isn't, but sometimes they put in, sometimes depending on which jerseys they wear, they have a different number, and whatever rosters they gave us, we apologize that we can't give credit by name to some of them. But
2 receivers left, 2 right. Benson to throw, out on the flat, complete, and it's out of bounds, and the clock stops at 16 seconds.
Same target, number 83. Again, we're not quite sure who he is. You know what, guys? Sometimes people get mad at us if we don't know the games, but I'll tell you what, it's your coaching staff's responsibility to get the right names with the right numbers to us, and if that doesn't happen, then all we can do is call a number, not a name.
Yeah, 16 seconds to go. Now, if they can get a score, then only two things have to happen at that point. Onside kick, Hail Mary to the end zone.
That's right.
You know, I mean, at least you're giving yourself a chance.
Which we've seen before in ball games. It wouldn't be, and they're going to take a timeout right now, or is this Hillcrest?
That's Hillcrest.
It's Hillcrest.
16 seconds to go. It is, it looks like it's second down and about 4. And Lakeland looking to get that quick touchdown. Remember, they've got one timeout left that they can use. But they've done a pretty decent job of kind of working their way down the field, working the sidelines. But obviously time is not their friend at the moment.
Last night we had two different teams punch their ticket to state championship games. Butte County out of the 2A division, which is an 8-man division, and Sugar Salem gets back to the state championship game for their 7th consecutive year. They've won 5 of the previous 6 to get back there for the 7th consecutive year. You know, and you look at Butte County, just a few years ago, Butte County didn't even have enough players to field an 8-man team, so they had to co-op that season with Mackey and created the team called Lost River. But this year they got their own. They find themselves in the 2A state championship game. 8-man football. A lot of fun football in 8-man.
Absolutely. Here we go. 16 seconds, second down and 4. Here we go. Benson to the end zone. Overthrows everybody, and it's incomplete with 12 ticks on the clock.
Yep, these passes got to come out pretty quick. Now, if you're Lakeland, if you score here and have to do an onside kick, you can dang near squib kick it downfield. You've almost been able to recover those anyway.
Yeah,
on most of them, they've given yourself a little legitimate shot at the end zone. But
12 seconds to go. So this is do or die time right now for Lakeland because they've got to leave a little something on the clock for the kick as well as the final play. Benson under pressure, and it's knocked away at the goal line on a great defensive play by, looked like Sweetwood. It was.
Yeah, and we don't see him out there defensively very often. He's out there right now. And number 83 was awfully upset. He thought the hand got in there a little early. It looked like, clean defensive play here, but he was right down on it and felt like a hand got in a little early.
Well, if Lakeland's going to have any shred of hope, they've got to score right here, and they've got to score quickly.
Yes, they do.
Because they can't leave just 2 seconds on the clock or the squib kick won't do them any good. And the pass bobbled and dropped. It was a little bit behind him defensively. There was Sargent. And that will turn it over on downs. It'll be all Hillcrest in the final 3 seconds, and they will advance to the state title game next weekend.
4 consecutive touchdowns unanswered by the Hillcrest Knights after being down by 2 scores. Score 4 straight and go up 2 scores.
And one knee will do it. And boy, what a heartbreaking loss for Lakeland as they were in control for most of this game. Got up 14-0, got up 21-6, and it just looked like they were in control. They were causing turnovers, they were capitalizing, and then everything got flipped on its ear in that third quarter, and Hillcrest stole the momentum and never gave it back. And the Hillcrest Knights are
making
snow
angels
with snow angels.
You remember that scene in The Longest Yard, the longest yard, the more recent Longest Yard, where they flooded the mud out there and all the players went and jumped and slid in that. That's kind of what that looked like, all the players out there.
Well, final score 42-28. Hillcrest advances. They get to relax tonight and await the winner of Skyline and Minico. That game tomorrow on IdahoSports.com. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be back with the postgame as well as our IdahoSports.com player of the game, brought to you by the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. All of that coming up when we return.
Dear road rivals, every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, our no-cost maintenance plan. Nissan and Ford charge extra for maintenance. At Toyota, we take care of our drivers. Join us. Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health insurance. Your Health Idaho's got you covered with all you need to know. Open enrollment is the time of year where you can enroll in or change your health insurance coverage. And Your Health Idaho is the place to go for quality coverage at a lower cost. 25% of enrollees pay $25 or less. Make sure to enroll by December 16th to get covered and save money.
This year, help dreams come true with the Ideal Idaho 529 Education Savings Program. Our easy-to-use tools make it simple to plan for your child's education. With tax benefits, ownership flexibility, Ideal is the perfect way to save for college, trade school, K-12 education, and student loan repayment. Join us at our next webinar to learn more about the 529 plan. Enrolling takes just 15 minutes and you can start with just $25. Visit idsaves.org if you would like to learn more.
Vaping sucks you in quick, and the more you vape, the harder it is to quit. Not to mention all the chemicals and health problems. That's why thousands of teens are joining My Life, My Quit. Visit mylifemyquit.com or text Start My Quit to 36072.
At Valleywide Cooperative, we're here when you need us. For 100 years, we have been here to help you with food, fuel, and good old-fashioned advice. And for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life, which is why we pour so much into the communities around us. We've employed hundreds of your neighbors. We take pride in that, and in giving back millions in sponsorships, grants, donations, and scholarships. It's our way of saying thanks. We're Valleywide, and yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we're here for you.
As Idahoans, we're not afraid to take risks.
All the way, all the way. Go. All the way down, all the way down.
Driving under the influence is not a risk we're willing to take. Be around to do more of what you love.
Ads like this keep popping up, but I see through the hype because those vape clouds people claim are just water vapor contain as many as 31 different chemicals, like formaldehyde, the stuff they preserve dead bodies with. And while the flavors sound all harmless, we still have no idea what these ingredients could be doing to our bodies. But I already see vaping for exactly what it is. Get the real facts at BehindTheHaze.com.
Dear Freedom, here's to more miles driven, more dollars saved, and more electrified vehicles than any other brand. Yours, Toyota Hybrids. Toyota. Let's go places.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health insurance. Your Health Idaho's got you covered with all you need to know. Open enrollment is the time of year where you can enroll in or change your health insurance coverage. And Your Health Idaho is the place to go for quality coverage at a lower cost. 25% of enrollees pay $25 or less. Make sure to enroll by December 16th to get covered and save money.
We're Valleywide Cooperative. For 100 years, we've been your first choice for residential and commercial propane, fuels, oils, and lubricants. We service HVAC, install water heaters, propane tanks, and accessories. And yes, we'll even deliver right where you need it. Because for us, serving is more than a job, it's a way of life. We are proud to employ your neighbors and to be a cornerstone of your community. We're Valleywide. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. We're here for you.
Dear Triathlon, let's take on iconic trails and race straight to the top. What's the point of winning if you can't enjoy the view? Yours, Toyota SUVs. Toyota. Let's go places.
Welcome back to Hillcrest High School. Final score, Hillcrest comes from behind and steals victory away from Lakeland. 42-28 is your final score. And Lance, this was a game of, we talked about it at halftime, just momentum swing. We saw it go back and forth, and in that third quarter, towards the end of that third quarter, that's when Hillcrest took control of that, and they never let it go.
Well, they found themselves 2 touchdowns down, and then they were on the receiving end, the bad receiving end of a muffed punt. And, you know, it was one of those scenarios where we just saw one of their players, we'll talk about him here in a minute, just take charge emotionally of this team and just would not be denied. And being down 2 scores, they score 4 unanswered touchdowns and end up winning this game 42-28. You know, in most places, we'll turn the scoreboard off right after the game. No, not these guys. They're leaving that 42-28 up there.
I thought that was the match. Yeah, as well they should. I mean, this is a game that, you know, we talked about being almost an uphill battle for Hillcrest for most of the game, falling down 2 scores and then just finding a way to get it done and getting out of their own way, avoiding the disaster of their own problems because they turned it over 3 times, and it really could have been lights out for them quickly. Lakeland was capitalizing, but just somehow everything switched in that third quarter after that defensive stand on the muffed punt and the long Sweetwood run, and then pretty soon it was just a downhill, you know, momentum steam train coming right at Lakeland, and it just never ended.
Well, you know, after those 2 initial scores for Lakeland to start the ball game, Hillcrest, their coaches made great adjustments. And so that's not where Lakeland was getting, I mean, that's not where Hillcrest is getting hurt. What was hurting them was those turnovers, the things that don't have really anything to do with adjustments. You know, you're just not holding on to the ball, things like that. And again, like you said, come towards the end of that third quarter, it just they just willed their way, and it was a fantastic win. Now, for Hillcrest, you're going to face either a Skyline team that beat you earlier this season, or you're going to face a Minico team that's very good as well. I think it's safe to say right now, you can't afford 3 turnovers against the Skyline. You probably can't afford 3 turnovers against a Minico either. And so those are things that you are going to have to address during practice this coming week.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Skyline has got to be the favorite coming into this 4A bracket. I mean, you know, they're the defending champs. They're the ones that are king of the mountain until you knock them off, and they've already beaten this Hillcrest team once already. So, you know, you got to figure them as the favorite in this bracket. They are in the semifinal. That's not taking anything away from Minico because Minico's playing well. They beat Bishop Kelly last week in 3 overtimes. But to your point, if you are Hillcrest moving into that state championship game, you have got to get some things cleaned up. Now, granted, the weather had something to do with that. You're not going to have that problem next week. But still, you have to understand the troubles that you create yourself if you allow this against a really good team like Skyline or Minico next week. So,
that's right.
But anyway, you know what? 42-28, we kind of talked about this, the player of the game. And it actually ended up being a very quick discussion as we both kind of looked at each other and went, I think we're going to do it because
a lot of people were worthy, no question about it.
No question. You know, and most of the time when you pick these things, you're looking at the box score, you're looking at the touchdowns, you're looking at the yards gained, you're looking at all these different things. But sometimes there's that one player that just makes their presence known and changes the complex of the game, just changes the face of it by what they're doing. And what they're doing not just on the field, but what we're seeing them do on the sidelines. And that's why we chose who is our player of the game.
Well, our player of the game tonight, very worthy, Michael McCartney. Just an absolute fantastic job tonight on the field. He was a leader in a way that most people will never be in their life. And he took charge out there. He was the emotional leader. He was the physical leader on the field as well with his play. And, you know, it's the offense that usually gets the credit. And most of the time, because at the end of a ball game, you have to score more points than the other team. So most of the time, an offensive player ends up with our player of the game. Not tonight. He is the one that got that defense going with those stops.
Yeah, so congratulations to him, our IdahoSports.com player of the game, presented to you by the Idaho Office of Highway Safety, reminding you to always keep your head in the game, whether you're on the field or the road. Be in the moment and free from distractions. Well, Lance, it was great getting back together with you again. It just seems like every state tournament, whether it's basketball or football, we wind up together doing a game. And it's always a ton of fun. So
we're always a year older, but hey, we'll take it.
Yeah,
we're a year wiser.
Yes, we are. Class of 1988 lives on, my friend.
That's right.
So thanks for doing that, and thanks to everybody here for bringing this broadcast to you, because that will bring this one to a close. This has been an IdahoSports.com GameStreams production of the 2024 Idaho High School football postseason, brought to you by Project Filter, Your Health Idaho, Ideal, which is Idaho's college savings program, Valleywide Cooperative, your local Toyota dealers, Dip Fusion Helmet Reconditioning, and the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. And the broadcast also made possible by the great support of local businesses like Super One Foods out of Lakeland and the surrounding areas. Well, special thanks to Athletic Director Larry Stocking and everyone here at Hillcrest High School for their hospitality and help in getting this game broadcast to you. And congratulations again to our IdahoSports.com player of the game, Michael McCartney, presented by the Idaho Office of Highway Safety. And thanks again for joining us as the Hillcrest Knights come from behind and beat the Lakeland Hawks by a final score of 42-28. They will play for a state title next week against either Skyline or Minico. Well, thanks for joining us as my broadcast partner, Lance Taylor, and the rest of the crew here, Paul Kingsbury, Logan Kelso, and Fuzz Taylor, bringing this broadcast to you. My name is Scott Burton. Thanks for joining us, and so long, everybody.
Let's talk about open enrollment for health insurance.
Hello?
This year, help dreams come true with the Ideal Idaho 529 Education Savings Program. Our easy-to-use tools make it simple to plan for your child's education. With tax benefits, ownership flexibility, Ideal is the perfect way to save for college, trade school, K-12 education, and student loan repayment. Join us at our next webinar to learn more about the 529 plan. Enrolling takes just 15 minutes, and you can start with just $25. Visit idsaves.org if you would like to learn more.